Hey everyone, hope your day is going well. We are back with another reaction. I saw this interesting title pop up onto my feed the other day. Could gravity be leaking from another universe? This is from Star Talk, an excerpt from a podcast, of course, with Neil deGrasse Tyson. I already checked out a clip from that, I believe, and I watched that from time to time just on my own. But I saw this one here, say, hey, let me check this out together with some other people and see what is happening. So gravity is leaking in from another universe, huh? All right. I knew something up with gravity, because I just came back from vacation. I stood on the scale and I said, I think more gravity's leaking today from that universe than before I went on this trip. Because this scale, yeah, wasn't too friendly to me. Wasn't too kind to me, to be honest.
Now, last thing.
Yeah.
Explain
with Brian Greene.
why you need more than 4 dimensions for your string theory universe.
Well, it's a very concrete explanation. When we look at the equations of string theory, there's a consistency equation where something must equal 0 or the math doesn't work. That something is a product of 2 things. One term is really complicated. It's never 0. The other term is the number of dimensions minus 10. The only way to get it to be equal to 0 is for D to be equal to 10. That's it. I am not joking. This is where the constraint of extra dimensions comes from in string theory.
The math is forcing our hand.
Sheesh. Of course, dropping into a conversation is already hard enough. But forget about that too, man. I've read about string theory. I've seen videos. I've heard people talk about many times. But even then, I can't wrap my head around it. So, man, I have to just keep reading, keep listening, keep talking with other people about this, and maybe someday the light will go on.
Where the constraint of extra dimensions comes from in string theory.
The math is forcing our hands.
Forces your hand. And then you say, well, let me take this math seriously. One thing you could say is, well, if it's not D equals 4, 3 space and 1 time, throw the theory away. Others of us will say, hey, let's consider the possibility.
Don't sell the universe short.
Yeah, exactly. So why should these 3 dimensions of space be the only ones?
Right.
We only are aware of them because they're big enough that we can be directly aware of them with these really faulty sensors that we have.
Right. If it's only your senses that limit that awareness, why not, in principle, can we build something that can gain access to these higher dimensions?
Yeah, so there are experiments on the table. Some have been carried out, but more precise ones may be done where you study Newton's law of gravity. Why does Newton's law go like 1 over r squared? Why do we teach our kids GMM over r squared?
It's a
geometric sphere in 3 dimensions of space.
Yes.
Look at that sphere in 4 or 5 or 6 dimensions, and the 2 in Newton's law won't be a 2.
No.
It'll be a bigger number. The fall off will be differently.
Right.
And so
yo, this is yo. That's going on in my brain right now. I did like that faulty sensor comment because it gives a whole new perspective to I only believe what I see, right? Because what if what we see is not really accurate? We already know it's not. Just take a simple example. A dog sees less colors, a bird sees more. So already, who is correct? What is correct? What is objective reality? We only perceive it, what our senses allow and how our brain interprets that. And, we having a sugar-coated view of reality already, Ugh. All right.
And so look at the gravitational force on very small distances. Look for a deviation from the 1 over r squared that Isaac Newton told us about in the late 1600s.
Okay, because that's only in our dimensional measurement of it.
Yes.
Okay, because I'd asked you, again, over that same lunch.
Yeah.
Why did we have lunch? I forgot. We were just
catching
hungry.
Up.
No. We were just catching up. It's my annual fix, my annual Brian Greene infusion. It was, could dark matter be ordinary matter with ordinary gravity in a parallel universe? Because for reasons I don't understand the math of, the field theory equations of, you were telling me that electromagnetic energy cannot escape our space-time, but gravity can.
In a certain model called the brane universe, where our universe, B-R-A-N-E, It comes out
As
of
in
string
membrane.
theory. Yeah, it's a membrane. So our universe is like a 4-dimensional membrane floating in a higher dimensional universe
Okay.
that might have other membranes.
Higher dimensional membrane.
Yes, and those other membranes like parallel to us, like 2 slices of bread and a big loaf of bread.
I like it. So,
Right.
so one slice of bread is some other membranal universe.
Yeah.
Ours is this one, but it's one
Big
multi-brain.
universe, yeah.
Okay. And so
Oh, I like that. That's how you explain things. Not the multi-brain, not the membrane. The sliced bread theory? Come on. That's catchy. So rename that. We're living in a complex carbohydrate universe. And we're a loaf of bread. And we're just, in one slice. Okay. No, yeah, that's great. The membrane.
this one, but it's
Alright.
one
Big
multi-brain.
universe, yeah.
Okay.
Multi-brain.
And so gravity could leak out of one into the other.
Or it could just be yeah, that's right. So
But
the
that's what I'm
gravitational
getting.
pull, yeah.
That's what I'm getting.
Yeah.
So if the other universe has 6 times, see, this is where you corrected me. Because I was thinking, because we have 6 times as much force of gravity operating in the universe as matter and energy can account for it.
Okay.
Factor of 6.
Right.
So I was saying, why isn't
Wow.
it just a parallel universe that has 6 times the mass and it's leakage into our universe, and we're trying to feel the elephant, trying to figure out what it is, but it's just regular matter in another universe whose gravity leaked. But then you said, if it's in another membrane, it's going to be dropping off faster than 1 over r squared.
Yeah.
Like 1 over r cubed. There's some higher dimension.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, it has to be way more than 6 times.
But you could imagine rigging it so that it would
Rig it.
have the right amount.
Yes.
And people have studied this, and it's hard to make these theories work in detail.
And be
But
all
in
self-consistent.
principle, it's an idea that's absolutely worthy of investigating, because that's one way to make it invisible. Just put it in another
Just stick
membrane.
it somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
exactly.
and then where we can still calculate with it, it's
Yeah.
not a problem.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Man.
It
Oh
is.
man.
All right.
I don't know what to believe about anything.
Yeah, I saw his expression
Nothing is
was the
real.
same as mine.
Nothing is real, man. I'm
Nothing is real. Nothing is real. Life is already hard enough. You start to get into these things. But it's also great. I love getting into those kinds of things. Like I said, the faulty sensors, the people talking about quantum mechanics and stuff. Then, the things that we occupy our daily, BS with, sometimes, you can see for what it actually is. Sometimes a lot of BS, and we spend a lot of time and energy on things that don't really matter. But then again, the other side of the argument is, yeah, we're living here. We got to go to work. We got to pay our bills. We got to pay our taxes. This is what's here. And all of this type of stuff is BS because we don't really understand it anyway. So why allocate time and energy towards that? I get both sides of that argument for sure. But I love that type of stuff. Maybe it's a form of escapism as well, right? I get it. I definitely am aware of that. But it's fun to talk about, even though I don't understand the math whatsoever. I don't understand it, but I love to listen to it anyway. And thank you for being here and learning with me, although what have we learned? That I don't know anything. Does that count? See you in the next one. Peace.